Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Desperate single women celebrate being unwanted. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. You know, women, we often make fun of women for they don't want the husband, but they do want the wedding. They don't even want the marriage necessarily, but they want the wedding and they want the moment and they want the honeymoon. Women don't want necessarily kids as much as they used to, but they do want the baby shower and the push presents. It's always about the celebration and bringing the attention back on women. Anything that can facilitate women feeling good about themselves and having a reason to celebrate is, well, that's kind of where it's at. Well, now I have this new story for us. Gen Z and millennial women celebrate themselves with success showers. Life's not just marriage and motherhood. Now, I just thought of another party they like to have. Divorce parties. They like to have baby deletion parties. It's all about the parties. They want to cheer on and pat themselves on the back for doing the most basic everyday things that guys do without even giving it thought. But now women need to throw parties for themselves just for that simple fact. So we're going to read down through this and women celebrating themselves and marriage and motherhood. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. This is why I keep telling you guys to get off of YouTube, because now any videos that are about long-range hole punchers or about some media, some news, of course, you remember elections, the jab, everything else gets censored off of YouTube. This is why Rumble is becoming such a big deal. Well, they don't censor. They don't have biases. They're fair. They treat all their creators equally, which is why I'm moving most of my content over there. No one thought platforms would be censored for political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. They're attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you guys. They're attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France and now Brazil. One major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble's offering $10 off with the promo code OddManOut10 when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/OddManOut10 and use promo code OddManOut10. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now's the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, well, I'd be happier if you just watched me over on Rumble instead of YouTube. Get away from YouTube. So they say here, Morgan Prowse, a public relations executive in film, was on cloud nine after recently earning a huge promotion on the job. But there was no shower or praise for the go-getter Gothamite. So she gave herself one. Gee, color me shocked. Also, somebody in film is celebrating, an executive in film. Movies aren't doing so well, neither is Hollywood. So you might want to hold on to that success shower. She looks exactly like you'd expect her to. I had a success shower, Prowse, 28, a downtowner, told the Post. It's a party similar to a bridal shower or a baby shower, but it celebrates the personal and professional success that my friends and I have accomplished. The focused fates roots in female empowerment. See working women of the Big Apple and beyond being spotlighted for the life achievements outside of marriage and motherhood. And while becoming a bride or mommy are indeed noteworthy wins, they're certainly not the only gains a gal has to gush over. As fewer Gen Zs and millennials are prioritizing tying the knot or welcoming tots, owning to the slime-laden dating pool, the high cost of child-rearing, dynamo divas nationwide are instead hustling for big titles and paychecks. I want to see what their link is about the slime-laden dating pool. I got to see that link. So women are celebrating. You know, this is the biggest grift that corporate America and the government ever pulled on women. It was now they've doubled the amount of workforce that the United States has without raising dollar amounts. Without ever, matter of fact, they could cut a lot of money because a man that might normally, say, back in the 1970s or 80s or 90s or whatever, that might have charged, wanted 50 grand a year for his job, they could hire a woman at 35, and there was a pay gap back in the day. And that's where the women were complaining about the pay gap. That was the whole reason they were hiring women over men. Now that the pays are about even, now there's a shortage of jobs, and the women are fighting for the air-conditioned offices or office jobs like this lady did as a film executive. But you notice they're never fighting for the jobs for bricklaying. They're not fighting for the jobs for sanitation or trash pickup or HVAC or putting tiles on the roof of a home. This is why so many men are getting pushed out of the workforce, because you have this whole segment of workforce that only men will do, and that leaves an excess of women applying for the jobs in the cushy, easy gigs, which is pushing men out of them. It's almost forcing men to become blue collar because they can't compete with the overabundance of women in the white collar jobs. And because they don't have any way or anything to really celebrate, they decide to just throw feel-good parties for themselves as they age and near the wall, wine, and cats. A recent Pew Research study found that young women earn as much or more than their male co-workers in 22 metropolitan cities across the country, including New York City, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles per the U.S. Census Bureau data. Still, their workplace triumphs rarely warrant any festive fanfare. Well, no, of course not. It's called having a job, being an adult, doing everyday normal things that you're expected to do, but because women are so fragile and they need their egos pumped so much, they've got to go out and throw parties for themselves just for going to a 9-to-5 like it's some big accomplishment. Amy Chan, 42, an author and relationship guru from Vancouver. Hold up. Wait a minute. Amy Chan, 42, an author and relationship guru. How much do you bet that she's single? Almost every relationship expert I've ever read a story on is single. She says, why do we only consider having a baby or getting married as significant enough reasons to celebrate a woman when there's so much more that makes up a woman's identity? She posed to the Post, I've attended many showers and spent a lot of money on gifts for these events, but since I'm child-free, there's a shock, I've never been on the receiving end of such a celebration. Oh, we're just out of ideas to do. We're Idiocracy. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie. Please go watch it. We're Idiocracy. We're just adult children now. Celebrating a professional success doesn't take away from someone having a bridal or baby shower. Who cares? You're doing your job. That's all it is. It's so stupid. This is so stupid. But you know, you've got to make everything mixed and special and unique and all the other things. What did they say about the dating? New York City women's insanely high dating standards are screwing them over. Okay, hey, let's read this one. This is right up our alley. They say New York City women's insanely high dating standards are screwing them over, says an expert. That's seemingly the 6-foot-tall six-pack and a six-figure salary. That's seemingly the bare minimum men must possess to impress ambitious single women in New York City, where many are also hoping their date is endowed with a trust fund, an Ivy League degree, and a summer house in the Hamptons. Now, just the last video I just did a video literally 30 minutes ago. I made the post of all the crazy ladies on TikTok, and I happened to catch one of the comments. And the commentator said, yeah, but not all girls are like that on TikTok. Not all women are TikTok women. You're right. But they're not talking about TikTok women. They're talking about New York City women. So when New York City women and LA women and Florida, Miami women and college women and blah, 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 and professional women and women, and after a while, it's all of them. Or such an overwhelming majority of them that's all that there is. They say a recent survey from dating app Flirtini found that a whopping 80% of women are open to lowering their standards, though, in order to meet a mate, but they don't. They're open to it, but they actually don't. But are New York City's single ladies willing to do the same? It's no secret that dating has always been a blood sport in the Big Apple, and Miami, and LA, and Washington, D.C., blah, 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 where the world's most eligible and ambitious jockey to bolster both their prospects and social standing, but the list of non-negotiables is seemingly more outlandish than ever. A woman says, I would 100% not date a guy who lives in Queens. And I do a heavy stalk before saying yes to anyone who lives in Brooklyn or Jersey, says some 30-year-old. But she lives in Manhattan, so she's better than you. All three of my last boyfriends have Wikipedia pages, another selective singleton 23 weighed in. Money's nice, one New Yorker dater 24 declared. A private jet sweetens the deal. It makes sense why New York single ladies have sky-high standards. Young women now out-earn young men in Manhattan as well. Why would they waste time with a male who doesn't measure up? And that's the irony right there. As women have out-earned men and men don't earn as much, women say, well, he's not good enough for me. Well, you took his job. And so the more women that are in the upper echelons, they can only go up. They only date up. That is hypergamy. They'll sleep with anybody at this point, or at least a lot of them will. I've met tons of singles through my dating events, both men and women, who have crazy expectations for their partner, and I feel sad for a lot of them who are clearly feeling lonely and going to remain single forever. Here's the thing. What are the men's standards? Usually it's be pretty, be nice, don't be fat. Like, men's standards are so much easier than women's. I think most of the guys, and gosh knows how many times I've said this, most guys are just like, you know what, treat me halfway decent. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to read down through the rest of this. You guys get the idea. It's a story we've read over and over and over and over again. So I'm not going to bother. But the point is, it's not just women on TikTok or Instagram that are being unreasonable. I mean, it's also just women in general, like New York City or LA or the rest of it. This isn't a dating profile of the day, but this goes to show you, again, like I mentioned in almost every video, women are not doing very well. This guy posted this on Twitter. He said, this was my interaction with a woman I had just matched with on a dating app, and we exchanged phone numbers. And he said, this is our first conversation. He said, hey, how are you doing today? She said, I'm genuinely really sad and lonely, but here's my butthole. You know, I remember just, 10 years ago, where women were furious. Women were demanding that cheerleaders not be females anymore for football games. They didn't want any women doing cheerleading for football because it was exploiting them a little bit. They didn't want the F1 rally car or race cars, F1 cars. They didn't want NASCARs. They didn't want these F1 girls, walking around in bikinis or booty shorts and small tops because it was taking advantage of women. And here we are 10 years later, smash cut to who's taking advantage of women? Women. Who's exploiting themselves and making it hard for them to get ahead in the world? Women. So you've got half the women are like this. Just, here's my starfish on the internet, please pay me $10. And then you've got the other half that are, I'm too good for you. Can you understand why men are left standing in the middle, looking around going, what the hell's going on? Here's a dating app from one of those strong and empowered ladies. She's a country girl. Looks like she's from Texas. She's got a Texas bull. She's got a cowboy hat on. She's got her baby breastfeeding in the photo. So the good news is she's got some big mommy milkers, I guess, for you fellas. She's 27 years old. She says, I'm a Jesus-loving, home-birthing, breastfeeding mama of one. And then a cross emoji. I like working out, but I also like day drinking at the beach and reading to my son. I definitely need more children, and I go out to church at maybe night. I'm not sure what that says, but she goes out to church. When we jokingly say that the odds are better for men to go to a conservative town or a conservative area, for men to go to church, that you'll meet the odds of meeting a better woman are there. Are they though? Are they though? Because here you've got a country girl, Jesus loving, goes to church, single mom of one, and she wants more kids. Why didn't she think of that before she had the kid? Why didn't she have this dating app out there? And she's still into day drinking. Like, what? If a woman mentions illicit substances and or drinking or partying or clubbing as any of her activities, just say no. If she has the kid in this, really? When they say men are out of options, what are we to do? There's so many women that are like this, and then the rest of them are entitled. They've taken the men's jobs from them, but they still want a better man. It's always a one-way direction, straight down the toilet for dating. Is there really any surprise?